Hey, fantastic viewers. I'm Steve from UCAN English Tutoring, a pioneer institution that has been helping more than 13,000 students to achieve their desired scores in OET, IELTS, and PT examinations since 2008. If you have enjoyed our deep dives into OET perfection, you are in for a treat. Imagine this channel as a boundless library of knowledge, and subscribing is your golden ticket to the full experience. By hitting that subscribe button, you are not just joining a channel. You are becoming an essential part of our vibrant community. It's like a handshake agreement that says, let's explore, learn, and grow together. But hold on, there is more. Subscribing isn't just about staying in the loop, it is about getting VIP access to a flood of the upcoming content. It is the front row seat to all the educational fun we are cooking. Welcome to a unique OET letter correction video where we dissect and enhance a letter written for the case notes of Mr. Alvine George by one of my students. I will provide a meticulous word-by-word correction, detail the feedback against each assessment criterion, and estimate the expected score. This video aims not only to correct but also to educate, helping you understand the nuances of OET letter writing. Firstly, let's jump onto the case notes of the patient, Mr. Alvine George. Firstly, we need to read the case notes for 5 minutes and then we have to complete the writing task in 40 minutes. Let's go through these case notes now. The patient's name is Alvine George, 69 years, and the admission date is 06/06/19. The date of discharge is 26/19, and the diagnosis is removal of benign tumor in left calf muscle. The social history includes son lives abroad, retired bookkeeper, divorced, pensioner, ex-wife lives nearby and helping, non-smoker, social drinker. The medical history includes never admitted to hospital, no known medical history, no previous admissions, pre-operative found to be hypertensive, high blood sugar levels, medications, lisinopril 5 mg daily, metformin 500 mg BD started. Physiotherapy, OT reviewed, diabetic clinic every month. Post-operative, vital stable, daily dressing, fever, chills, wound infected. Started on antibiotics, amoxicillin 1 gram, TDS 1 week. Now healing, no pulse, no fever, walking with the frame. Nursing care includes showering, daily wound dressing, remind to take medication. Discharge plan is as follows. Letter to a community nurse for care and medication compliance, dressing changes, encourage independence with the ADLs if needs other help. Review at diabetic clinic every month, BP and blood glucose monitoring, continue physiotherapy, diet advice. You need to write a letter. This is the writing task where you have to read this instruction at least 2 times. Write a letter to your community nurse, Miss Leon, Oxford Community Health Center, Oxford, to make a home visit for further care. I hope you guys understand the background of the patient. You need to always remember one thing, that the case notes of a OET writing question paper may have inappropriate use of abbreviations, tenses, nouns, adverbs, adjectives, articles, as well as prepositions. In other words, the case notes are grammatically inaccurate, but what you have to do is to extract only the information and present them in a grammatically appropriate manner when you write on the letter. Cool. Here is the letter written by the student. The student started with the addressee's contact details on the top. She wrote Miss Leon, Oxford Community Health Center in Oxford. It is better to write down Oxford in the same area as you have started in the last line. I mean, the orientation of this last line could be on the left-hand side. You could have moved Oxford to the left-hand side so that they are aligned to each other in this addressee's contact section. Now, you have written down the date, which is 20 June 2019. I'm very happy with that. And you didn't write down the salutation of the recipient, unfortunately. we should ensure always that we include the salutation of the recipient. We have to, politely write down such as Dear Miss Leon. That's very important for us to ensure. And after that, you should write down the reference details. I'm happy with the reference details. However, it could have been a little bit better by writing down Mr. before Alvin George. We need to always remember one thing, that the case notes may contain a lot of mistakes in terms of the accuracy of the grammar and presentation. So they didn't write down Mr. over there, but you should write down Mr. Alvin George in the reference section. And aged 69 is amazing. That's a good thing. Let's jump on to the introduction paragraph. You started writing down this one. I am writing to refer Mr. George, who underwent the removal of a benign tumor in left calf muscle 2 weeks ago. That is awesome. One of the best ways we need to do is to interpret the dates in the form of the time references. And you have done a wonderful job, because the date of admission was just about 2 weeks ago, and you were able to do this very well. However, whenever we write down the body part, such as the left calf muscle or shoulder or knee, we should use the article called the. Otherwise, we have to use the personal pronouns such as his or her. So in this case, you could have written down in his left calf muscle or in the left calf muscle. Anyway, let's jump on to the next sentence. He requires daily home visits. Well, unfortunately, you didn't write down the correct spelling for visits. You wrote VISTS, but unfortunately, the correct spelling is going to be VISITS. Okay, let's go through the next one. So ongoing care. So he requires daily home visits, ongoing care, and management following his discharge today. You are able to provide a decent introduction paragraph. However, these are a couple of mistakes which could have been avoided, and they can help you out a lot. All right, let's jump on to the next one. So you started writing down the social background after that. Since this is to a community nurse, I'm quite happy whatever you have written down here. Socially, Mr. George is a retiree who lives alone due to his divorce from his wife, and his son lives overseas. That is absolutely great. Mr. George is an occasional drinker, but he never smokes. Perfect. This sentence is also good enough. The way you have written on the sentence structures in this paragraph looks great. Well done. You have done a wonderful job. Now, let's go through the medical paragraph. Medically, Mr. George has never been hospitalized before. However, during preoperative care, he was diagnosed with the hypertension. Well, when we write down the conditions such as the hypertension and headache, which are the generic diseases or generic symptoms, it is good to start with the small letter. I mean, it should be a small h, as well as for hyperglycemia, you have to use a small h only. You shouldn't use the capital H. As a result, he has commenced on lisinopril 5 milligram daily and metformin 500 milligram twice a day. I am okay with that. However, it shouldn't be he has commenced. It should be he was commenced on these medications. Let's jump on to the next paragraph. Post-operatively, comma, you have done a good job, because after post-operatively or pre-operatively, we need to place a comma, and you were able to do it accurately. I'm so happy with it. He was recovering well, but his wound became infected. Okay, that's really nice. Therefore is not a recommended connector between two sentences. It is highly recommended to use other acceptable connectors such as a result, as a consequence, consequently, subsequently, and so on. He was prescribed amoxicillin 1 gram thrice a day for 7 days. That's really good. I'm very happy with the way you are writing down. It's all good enough. However, there are small mistakes that you have to go through and avoid them. Upon discharge, it would be greatly appreciated. You have missed the B over there. Proofreading is one of the most underrated tasks by many students, and we need to ensure that we write down very well and we also go through the letter to identify what kinds of mistakes we have committed and overcome them before hand it over to the exam invigilator. So it would be greatly appreciated if you could help him with the medication adherence, blood pressure, and blood sugar monitoring. In addition, he requires assistance with the changing dressings and in activities of daily living. That is good. I'm happy with that. However, he moves around with the walking. Let's go to the next one, with the walking. With the walking frame, that's good. I'm happy with that. Walking frame is a countable noun. Under the result, we need to use an article in front of that. And you have done a wonderful job. I'm so happy with it. Importantly, he needs dietary advice and his physiotherapy sessions are to be continued. It's better to say his physiotherapy sessions should be continued or shall be continued or ought to be continued and so on. Please note that he was advised to attend the diabetic clinic monthly for the review. That is perfect. I'm happy with that. If you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. It is always a highly recommended thing for every student to thank the recipient for accepting the patient. So it's better to write down another sentence just before this, stating thank you so much or thank you for accepting to provide care for this patient, and then you can write this one down. You are sincerely registered nurse. All right. It's amazing that the way you have written down this, your handwriting is absolutely fine. I'm so happy with the way that you have written down this letter, although there are mistakes that need to be identified.
You wrote pretty well.
Now, let us delve into the assessment criteria and see how well you have met the OET standards. The first and the foremost assessment criteria is called task achievement. The candidate has effectively addressed the task by including all relevant case notes in the letter. However, there is a room for improvement in elaborating on certain aspects for a more comprehensive response. The second parameter is called coherence and cohesion. It is all about how well you are connecting the sentences together as well as the paragraphs together to ensure there is a smooth flow of ideas. While this letter maintains a logical flow, a few transitions could have been smoother. For example, instead of using therefore, you could have used as a result, as a consequence, or consequently. You need to understand that there are some connectors which are not acceptable or not recommended for the OET letter, and there are several connectors which are highly recommended to improve your score for the OET letter. Now, clearer paragraphing structure and the use of cohesive devices could enhance your overall score under coherence. The third parameter is called the language and tone. The language used is generally appropriate. I'm quite happy with that. However, you have committed a couple of errors which leads to an opportunity to infuse a touch more empathy in certain sections, ensuring a patient-centered approach. Fourth assessment criteria is called grammar and vocabulary. Grammar is generally all right, but attention is needed in a few areas. The vocabulary is adequate, but we have to use more varied and precise terms that can elevate the richness of expressions. Some of the words were not appropriate because you were using the informal vocabulary, which could have been replaced with the formal vocabulary. For example, instead of using need to, you can use required to or should be or so on. Finally, the expected score estimation. Considering the strengths and areas of improvement, I estimate a score in the range of 280 to 290 for this letter. Thank you, incredible learners, for embarking on this knowledge journey with us today. Your curiosity fuels our passion, and we are thrilled to have you as part of our growing community. But wait, our adventure doesn't end here. It is just a pause in the ongoing symphony of learning. So, what's next? Keep those notifications on. Stay tuned for mind expanding content, and let's continue exploring the vast universe knowledge together.
Thank you for watching, everybody.